talk about. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Wednesday night. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. It is episode 144 of the Throwdown, and today we are throwing down with a Georgia-based wrestler, yet another product of the talent factory that is WWA4. I give you the one and only Public Enemy #1, Vivian Cross. How you doing tonight, Vivian?
I'm good. How are you?
Like I said before we went live, it's been a good day. I've definitely been looking forward to this, and I'm really glad we have the opportunity to do this.
Likewise, myself too.
So, for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat, and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and start with the first and the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
So I have been wrestling for, I guess, roughly 9 months now. It was, I think, September 30th of last year was when I signed up for the A4. About 9 months now.
Nice. And, I know the answer to this, but tell us a bit about the experience that you've had training under AR Fox. How has that been?
It's been incredible. A dream come true, truly. Not to sound super starstruck or anything like that, but I was following the A4 for quite some time before I signed up. I want to say something like 3 or 4 years before I ended up going. I was 25 when I told myself that I was going to become a professional wrestler before I turned 30. And I had just so happened to do it before my 29th birthday of last year. And so it was a really cool experience to have been following the school and like all the people that have been going there for such a long time and see them progress alongside like myself now. It's just really cool. It's an experience like no other.
Awesome. So in terms of the early portions of your training, what would you say was the most difficult aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
That's a good question. I'd say a combination of the explosiveness required to be able to execute a lot of the moves like in succession. That has been a big thing for my body to get used to, and then for like my mind, it's been a lot of the struggle that I have is like I deal with ADHD, and that can be such a big struggle in the middle of a match when like you've gone over it, however many times beforehand, and then you're in there in the middle of it and you're like, oh gosh, what's the next thing? And luckily I work with a lot of amazing people who are great at being able to, help me pick back up wherever I need to and keep on going.
Gotcha. So did you have an athletic background before taking this on? Had you played sports? Did you have any kind of martial arts background, anything like that before taking this on?
I did. When I was younger, about 10 years old, I did Taekwondo. I did that for about 5 years, something like that. It was about till I was 15, 16. I was a second-degree black belt by the time I had finished.
Nice.
I'm really proud of that. I am sad to say that I have carried very little of it over to my wrestling thus far, only because I spent quite a long time away from from martial arts in between then and now. But honestly, I'm actually looking forward to possibly getting back into that, or possibly even something like jujitsu or another martial art to help expand my knowledge and repertoire of what I can do in the ring.
Gotcha. Yeah, I actually trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a few years, several years ago, and absolutely loved it. You know,
That's
I maintain to this day that there is no better full body workout than rolling jiu-jitsu for 5-minute rounds with just random people. I mean, it's something else. I mean,
I can honestly say the same for wrestling too. Like when you're running drills and stuff in class,
mhm.
it's like, you know, running like a little 3-minute match or 5-minute match, whatever. Like it's a great workout.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I'm presuming, based on our conversation, that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
That is correct. Yeah. The earliest memories that I have of watching wrestling were with my dad,
Hmm.
watching WCW. In particular, it was right around the time like Goldberg was getting big.
Hmm.
About 5 or 6 years old, I think I was, something like that. And I remember like just from that point, there's like a couple of different like pay-per-views in particular, or like episodes of Raw that I could like distinctly remember watching with my family. Stuff like, I think like Backlash 2001. I remember we watched WrestleMania 20 together. I think like all the Royal Rumbles. We were always watching all the Royal Rumbles together. Um, we couldn't afford all of them, but like for the ones that we really wanted to see, we were always watching it. But it was pretty much a big part of my life up until I want to say about 2009 ish, right around when
Hmm.
WWE's like programming kind of started to like dip in quality.
Decline. Yeah.
Yeah, and right around there, it was kind of when I just it wasn't as big of a thing. I always like enjoyed it. I always like kept it around, and like when that was kind of around the time when I started doing martial arts, and
Mhm.
so I think maybe because it wasn't as prevalent in my life around that time, it might have been part of the reason why I didn't like think to naturally progress into something like professional wrestling when I had finished. But I can't say that it wasn't something that was on my mind, because I remember talking to some family members about it when I was younger, and maybe they, you know, them just being, you know, family and loving, just being like, oh, I don't, you don't want to do that, you know, trust me, it's hard on your body, you're not going to make any money, don't worry, you know, just find a good job. But you know, in the back of my mind, I had always thought, you know, I could do this if I really wanted to. And like I said, it wasn't until I had like turned 25 and kind of was really just spinning my wheels in life. I had you know, I had money, I had at the very least enough to, you know, get by, and I had a roof over my head, but I wasn't really doing a whole lot. And I was like, you know, this is something that I've always loved, and you know, I am not getting any younger, and I want to at the very least do it, you know, before I have the you know, unfortunateness of time to just like keep rolling along and prevent me from doing it. So
Right.
I did everything I could up from that point to just kind of get myself as far towards that goal as I could. And um, it took me a long time to get to it. The story of how I like got up to where I'm at now kind of goes in parts. Like the beginning of it was a lot of like preparation and like mind work and therapy. And um, then the middle portion was a lot of just grinding and not really getting anywhere, um, and spinning my wheels some more. And you know, I had a couple of different times where I would get a nice lucky break, and something would happen where like say I'd get an influx of money to be able to put towards something like wrestling training or something like that, and something would happen in my life where I'd need to use that money for something else, and I just do it. So after a little while of that, I after some like, you know, big changes in my life, I ended up meeting this really wonderful person who was actually kind enough to very generously sponsor my wrestling training for me, because they are a very lovely person and they care about me a lot. Her name is Jaren, by the way. She helped sponsor me to get started in my training, and because of that, I'm, you know, now full steam ahead on this journey, and there's you know, there's no going back and no stopping unless, you know, Earth wills me so.
Gotcha. Well, you know, glancing over at the Instagram chat, a former guest of mine, Missy Long, is in the audience. Smart Fit Method Lacosta is in the chat room, and my dear friend and yours, Don Miguel, is in the audience, and he says that he loves you and you're awesome.
Oh, thank you so much, Don. I love you too. Don has been one of my biggest fans since day one, and I love him so much. He's great.
Yeah, I've had him on the show previously, and he's an amazing person. I really dig Miguel a lot. He's awesome.
He's awesome.
And you know, you were mentioning one of your earliest memories being relating to Goldberg, mm-hmm. And you know, I was a bit older, you know, when Goldberg came to prominence, and I can't say I'm entirely a fan of his, but I was in the Georgia Dome when he went over on Hogan.
Really?
And let me tell you, I have never experienced a roar in person to top that night in the Georgia Dome when he went over on Hogan. I mean, that place came unglued. I mean, it was wild. So yeah, I've definitely got a special Goldberg memory myself.
That's awesome.
So away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
So I really enjoy playing video games, like a lot of people do. I enjoy singing a lot. I like singing in the car, doing karaoke, stuff like that. I also enjoy playing other instruments. I play drums a little bit, and I play, well, I say a little bit. I've been playing drums since I was like, I think like 10 or 12, something like that. Mm-hmm. But I'd say like intermediately, not really that great. I've been playing guitar for, I think, like 3 or 4 years, playing bass for about the same amount of time, ukulele as well. I like playing music. I really enjoy cooking. That helps a lot with wrestling, and like, you know, just being able to meal prep and do whatever you need, carve out. Let's see. You know, something I haven't done in a while, but I used to really enjoy a lot with skateboarding, and that's something that I need to do some more. But it's one of those things that, like wrestling, can be a little bit dangerous. So, you know, and as well, like the if you don't use it, you lose it rule applies to skateboarding.
Right.
And if you haven't done it for a while, your body's not used to it, and it gets a little bit more dangerous. But so I don't want to do something in skateboarding to prevent me from being able to wrestle, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Let's see. Other than that, that I guess that kind of covers the gambit of what I like. I like playing with my cat. I like playing with my cat a lot. I'm pretty simple.
Gotcha. So, you know, we're obviously mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture. and I'm always looking for recommendations. So are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Let's see. Anything like, does it have to be like new in particular?
No, just
Okay.
anything interesting that you're watching or listening to.
Okay. Well, I've been watching a lot of like older TV. Recently, I've been watching a lot of older Simpsons seasons. We've been watching a lot of like Beavis and Butthead, some old South Park.
Oh yeah.
King of the Hill. Just like old, like a whole like retro TV binge. Something that I saw not that long ago that we started watching the Drew Carey show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Drew Carey. I grew up watching Who's Line, and that's just always been a favorite of mine. But I had never seen his sitcom until this year, and it's been pretty good. And so I need to go back and finish that.
Gotcha. So KJ Valentine just showed up in the Instagram chat, and he said, "Wild Viv out in the forest where she belongs." I love KJ. He's awesome.
Great. KJ's great. I see you. I see you out there.
So, so outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most, and why?
Outside of wrestling?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't have too many people that I could consider heroes. I'd say one of them in particular, and this may sound a little nerdy, but it is Alton Brown, the chef. He did Good Eats, and I grew up watching that show, and he's kind of who taught me how to cook. I learned a lot from my parents, but most of what I learned in the kitchen came from that show. I had an obsession with it. I just this past year went to one of his last live shows that he was doing in Georgia, and it was a really, really cool experience. But yeah, I would say him. And let's see, who else? Oh gosh, outside of wrestling, I'd say my grandmother. My grandmother was a very strong woman, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today without my grandmother, and she's a lot of the reason why I have this stalwart attitude to just like never. I've always had this like boundless optimism. Like I've had times of like depression and hopelessness sometimes, but most of what I feel a lot of the time is just like a hope that things will be okay, as long as I feel like I'm making the right decisions for myself. And she's the person who you know kind of taught me to just like follow my gut and follow my heart and just be the person that I wanted to be and not let anybody else tell me otherwise.
Gotcha. So what does your family think about all of this? What do they think about you pursuing your wrestling dreams?
My family are very excited for me. I actually so not that long ago I had a match in my hometown. It was a triple threat match against one KJ Valentine and
nice.
3. And it was something that my parents got to go to, and like my sister was there and some of her family was there, and it was a really cool experience for them to be able to watch me perform for the first time, and like they had seen me wrestle before and everything. That in particular was a very special experience, and my dad in particular told me how proud he was of me, and just that I'm getting to follow my dream and do what I wanted to do in spite of like whatever discouragements they might have given me when I was younger, and it was very cool to know that. I actually heard secondhand from a different family member last week that kind of confirmed more of what I just said, in a different way. And it's just very nice to know that he is as proud of me as he is.
Awesome. Awesome. So, you know, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually kind of yourself turned up to 11. And I know that particularly within the first year or so, you're trying a lot of different things and kind of finding your footing and your wrestling persona. But at this point, tell us about in-ring Vivian Cross and compare and contrast her with everyday you.
So that is a very complicated question. And I only say that because it has been somewhat difficult for me to describe a lot of the differences between in-ring Vivian and out-of-ring Vivian. I would say the biggest one is probably just like my overall attitude. Like when I'm in a match, and this is something that has been a little bit to my detriment, but also I kind of try to incorporate it a little bit into my character. Is when I'm in a match, I am very much focused. I am very much focused on what's going on in the ring, and you know, I try to be there, and so sometimes that can lead to me just my overall intensity just getting like way higher than I normally would in any other situation in my day to day. I'd say in some situations I have a lot more attitude than I normally would in my day to day life. I've I've not really been super great at being mean to people. It's just not really my forte. But sometimes in wrestling you gotta be mean. Sometimes in wrestling you gotta have some attitude, and I feel like I've been finding my footing a little bit more recently with, you know, having some more attitude and some more spunk to me. But overall, I would say the biggest thing is that intensity. Yeah.
Gotcha. So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Tell us about the first one.
So my first match was with CB43 as well.
Okay.
We have faced each other quite a bit in various different forms. He's kind of my arch nemesis. So that first match in particular was actually on a very special show. It was Mr. Danger's birthday on that day, and it was a very big show. We had a lot of people there, and to debut, like at the start of it was the first show of the year as well, and so to debut in a position like that was pretty exciting and also very nerve-wracking. I felt ready at the time. I believe I had only been training for maybe 3-ish months at that time, and I felt ready. But I definitely was feeling a lot of nerves. But CB is a great opponent, and I probably could not have asked for a better opponent to debut with. So as soon as I got in the ring, like as soon as my music hit, for one, my adrenaline levels just spiked, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm like, all right, it's time, let's go, let's do this. And I get out there and it's just like kind of a blur, like from the entrance ramp to the ring, and like I'm in there and I can remember like little flashes of like where I was, but in a lot of ways it felt like a blur. I kind of don't remember. I kind of don't remember exactly like the sequence of it as it happened, like from my own viewpoint. But I've watched it back since then, and like I'm like, oh yeah, that all that happened. But it was very surreal. It was very surreal how it was just like, whoa, this is happening, and I'm doing all these things. Like it's crazy. Since then it's kind of gotten a lot more, I've gotten a lot more used to it. It feels a lot more like I'm like, you know, I'm present in the moment, and you know, feels like I'm accomplishing something every time I work a match, and it's great. But yeah, that first one was so crazy.
Gotcha. So, we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down to one, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of so far.
Oh, my favorite match. Favorite match I've been a part of so far. Um, it's hard to not say the triple threat in my hometown because that show in particular, that match was very special to me. Um, a lot of the matches that I have had have been with the four at their Thursday shows, um, and I've had, I think, probably like three or four outside of that. And so I don't know necessarily if I should count everything. And if I am going to, um, I would say one of my favorites in particular is my match with Spectre. He and I worked really well together. I think we had some really good chemistry, and I would really love to have another match with him. Um, I would say my match with Smoke Daddy T, who I have not seen in quite some time, and I cannot wait to see him again once he finishes whatever life has going on for him. He was just a great opponent, and we worked really well together as well. Um, and I have a pair of matches so far with Alexandra Quinn. I'm also very, very proud of, and she's so much fun and just a lot of energy, and she brings so much like just laughter to the ring and everything. And
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to get the opportunity to finally get one over on her. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. And, shout out to both Spectre and Alexandra Quinn. I've had them both on the show, and they're both top-notch people.
Absolutely.
So, I know everybody has them, but what is your biggest wrestling-related pet peeve?
Oh, biggest pet peeve?
Yeah.
Biggest thing that annoys me about wrestling. I'd say, I think two things.
Okay.
I'd say one thing is how much wrestling consumes, like, consumes everything that I do in particular, but also just um, it like to be a wrestler and to like enjoy wrestling in that same aspect. You have to be like surrounded by it all the time, and sometimes that can get tiring. I really enjoy wrestling a lot. I watch a lot of classic wrestling. I watch a lot of modern wrestling. I consume a lot of like wrestling media that's not actual wrestling itself, like YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff like that. And sometimes I like have to take a look and just be like, "Whoa, it's just, I need to watch. I need to do something else. I can't be surrounded by this all the time. I need a break." But it's hard to do that when you're also like going to training and going to shows, stuff like that. You kind of just,
Right.
so I'd say that might be my biggest one. I think second would probably be that. I would say that I haven't watched enough wrestling as well.
Yeah.
As silly as that is to say, I feel like I still have not watched as much as I would like to.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's both a blessing and a curse. Wrestling is so hot right now, and there is so much content out there, and there's only so many hours in the week that you can devote to watching wrestling.
Absolutely.
And from my perspective, I feel like I have to sort of stay caught up on everything, and it's hard. I mean,
Yeah,
with everything else in life, staying caught up on what's going on in the business is it's a there's definitely times where it becomes very all consuming, and I completely get what you're saying. Yeah. So if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
If I could only be one,
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you would have to necessarily suck at the other, but if
right.
you could only be great in one, what would you rather be great in?
I would probably say great in the ring. I think
Okay.
that would be what that's my gut tells me. I think my heart wants to say Mike, but I think the truth is I want to be great in the ring.
Gotcha. So, in terms of your in-ring work and your promos and such, who or what would you say are some of your influences?
When it comes to in-ring work and promos, so in-ring work wise, I would say probably people like Dean Malenko,
Mm-hmm.
people like Arn Anderson,
Yep.
and he counts for the microphone as well. I love Arn and his promos.
Yeah.
He's I don't know if this is a later on question, but Arn is like my overall favorite wrestler of all time. Let's see, Sting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart, Owen Hart, um, Shawn Michaels, Tajiri. I always
Oh
love
yeah.
his in-ring work. And I'll end it by saying Pac.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I can definitely tell you gravitate toward the technicians.
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah. A little the
Yeah.
technicians, a little the high flyers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie Guerrero as well. I forgot him. I can't.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't, Eddie. I can never forget Eddie.
And absolutely love Arn Anderson myself. No one can do a spine buster like Arn Anderson could.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yes, that's my favorite move.
the undisputed king of the spine buster. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that it's like comfort food. You just find yourself going back to it, and it just never really gets old. And there's always some new little something.
Probably, and this might be a generic answer, but Austin and Brett at Mania 13.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that I go back to all the time. I'd say second place. This is going to be a strange pick, but Sting versus Flair at World War III 1995. That match in particular, and like the promos leading up to it from the show, like that World War III 1995 is like one of my like really good comfort shows. There's just all the matches on that card, like I love, and yeah, I'd say those two in particular.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're a WCW person. You know, I was raised in the South, and you know, I actually really didn't start. I really didn't start watching much WWF at the time until I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty much a WCW and some of the other at the time territories. You know, I watched a lot of Mid South, watched a lot of World Class. I first started watching wrestling as a kid in Florida with the old Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley doing the commentary in the early 80s, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a WCW fan myself. So,
I love it.
and I just,
It's so fun. And I watched it a lot as a kid, but my memories from watching it as a child are pretty like spaced out. It wasn't until I filled in a lot of those gaps, like I think like probably like 3 or 4 years ago when I like went back and rewatched all the Nitros and everything like that. Yeah, WCW was a really, really fun time.
Gotcha. So piggybacking on that question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan?
All-time favorite promo. My first instinct, and this was someone that I forgot to mention in my mic work question, but it's Jake the Snake.
Mm-hmm.
The promo that he cuts after he hits Elizabeth, like after that whole sequence of events happens, and he goes back and he's cutting it to Mean Gene or whoever it was. That one in particular was a really, really pivotal one. And honestly, like any of Arn Anderson's promos, just any of them. You could pick one, and any of them, they'll be good.
Yeah, I am also a big fan of Jake Roberts' promo style. And I've mentioned this on a number of these, but I always loved the fact that he would rarely raise his voice. He would just quietly project menace.
Yeah.
And basically, he wouldn't rant and rave and foam at the mouth with his veins popping out of his head and scream at you. He would just quietly tell you what he was going to do to you. And in many ways, that's scarier than somebody ranting and raving.
100%.
They say fear the quiet ones. And,
right.
And so, love his promos. And somebody else with a similar style that I always dug was Raven.
Yeah.
Again, he would just calmly, quietly tell you what he was going to do. And to me, you get more shivers from that type of promo than you do somebody yelling and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, no doubt.
So, in your opinion, who are the best male and female wrestlers in the world right now? One man and one woman. Who are at the top of the game for you at this moment?
Will Ospreay and Tony Storm.
I can't argue that.
Yep.
Both of them are operating at such a high level right now that I cannot argue that for a minute. Both of them are just unreal. So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would Vivian Cross love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
Ooh. Nyla Rose.
Okay.
Rose would be my answer. Yeah. She has been, I think, one of the biggest inspirations for me as a professional wrestler, just to get to the level that she did. Is just incredible, and one of my goals is to get to that same level. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So, they say never meet your heroes because they're bound to let you down. Have you had a chance to meet any of your wrestling heroes so far, and how was the experience?
I have. I got the chance to meet and work with Effie back in, I think it was, I believe it was April or March of this past year. And that was an amazing experience. He was such a gentleman and such a pleasure to work with, and so much fun. And I cannot wait to get the opportunity to possibly work with him again in the future. I attended a seminar from him around the same time, and it was just chock full of amazing, helpful information. Effie was such a pleasure to meet and work with.
Gotcha. So, what is your favorite move? what is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
So one of my favorite moves to just do is a spine buster, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Second to that is probably one of my signatures is a crucifix driver, and it's like when you hit it just right, there's nothing that feels better than just getting that, just hitting it solid. I'd say that one. Aside from that, my least favorite thing. Okay, so the question was something that I wouldn't do, and as of right now, I haven't encountered anything that I wouldn't do necessarily, unless it's something like moonsault off the top rope. I haven't gotten that far yet. Maybe one day we'll get to that point, but as of right now, we're not going that far. If it was a move that I wouldn't want to take, I would really hate to take a gotch style pile driver. I actually don't think I've taken a pile driver up to this point. And they don't seem fun, but I guess we'll have to see if someone decides to put one on me. I'll just have to deal with it. So,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Alexandra Quinn has shown up in the Instagram chat room. So definitely big hello to her. She was a great guest.
Hello, Alex. It's good to see you.
So you haven't been doing this that long, so this may not apply, but I'll go ahead and ask, what hurts right now?
What hurts right now? Actually, I could tell you. I picked up a shoulder injury back in June that put me off the shelf or onto the shelf for about 3-ish weeks. It was just a sprain, nothing too serious, thankfully. But I'm still definitely dealing with a lot of the after effects from that. It's been just kind of nagging me a little bit, not enough to prevent me from performing. Just some aches and pains a little bit here and there. I try to take good care of it, and it's slowly getting back to a point of normalcy. But that's one thing that has been bothering me.
Gotcha. And so far in your wrestling career, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Oh, the worst one that I've taken was, my first instinct was to say the bump that got me the shoulder injury, but I will say that's actually not as bad as, and I do apologize about the background noise. Some people have decided.
Oh, it's fine.
Yard work. I'd say the worst one that I took was actually in my first match. I took a cannonball that basically what happened was this ear, it clipped the bottom rope where I was sitting, and I went from up here straight down to the mat right on impact, and it clipped right through it, enough to bust it open and make it hurt pretty bad. But yeah, that's probably the worst one that I've taken so far.
Gotcha. So we're going to take this opportunity right now, and we're going to run through the speed round game real quick.
Okay. Got it. Speed round. Let's do it.
Yep. Matt Hardy.
Twist of Fate.
Penta.
Cero. Yep.
Absolutely. Seth Rollins.
World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't say much more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, ruse of the century. They pulled that off very well.
Yeah.
Brian Danielson.
Final countdown.
Yep. Stephanie Vaquer.
That one move that she does. I don't
Yes,
remember.
the devil's kiss, I think they call it.
Yeah. That one.
Rey Mysterio.
West Coast Pop.
Yep. Adam Cole.
Bay.
Yeah. Joe Hendry.
I believe.
Rhea Ripley.
Oh. Best theme in WWE.
Yeah. MJF.
Asshole.
Yeah. So, what is the most important lesson that your time in professional wrestling so far has taught you?
To be more patient with myself. I'd say I've had to learn a lot that this is a journey that it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. And I've had a lot of like great progress for the amount of time that I've been wrestling for, and it's incredible. And I always find myself at the same time struggling with feelings of like I could be farther along, or like, I could be doing more. And I have to remember that, time moves at its own pace for everybody. And um, I the only thing that I can do is just continue to hustle and continue to work, and just do everything that I can to get where I want to be. And that's it. I can't be judging myself to other people. I can't be judging myself to myself even. I just gotta work. That's it.
Yep. And we can all be our own worst enemy if we let ourselves be.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and showing grace to yourself is such an important thing to keep in mind. So what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically indie wrestling?
I think it's great in a lot of ways. It's like you can reach a lot of eyes with social media. You can take a show that wouldn't have been drawing anything to, at the minimum, getting like maybe 50 people in the door, or maybe even more than that, depending on how you market yourself or how you market your show, depending on who you get on it, everything like that. How much production value that you put into your posters. There's so many things that can go into the success of like a promotion if you're trying to do that. And I think social media lends itself very well to that if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, it can be very confusing. It can be a detriment even if you're putting effort into it and not getting what you're looking for out of it. A lot of it requires trial and error. A lot of it requires like just being able to like kind of read the market and know what's popular and know what you kind of should be doing or going for. Yeah, that's about what I can say to that.
Absolutely. So knowing everything that you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
To not give up with sports at such a young age. To not not let myself get so bogged down with what everybody else tells you. Like don't. I would tell myself to just be me and not worry about, you know, people like my parents and people that were, you know, around me growing up always wanted to give me what they thought was their best advice. And while I know that what they were giving was what they truly thought was the best advice that they could give, it might not have been the best advice for me. And it was it's a lot of stuff that I didn't realize until a lot later on in my life, until I and realized what I truly wanted and what directions I wanted to go. And younger me was very caught up in just the opposite of that, and was always very concerned about what others thought about them, and you know, it's just not something I would have wanted to carry along with me as long as I have. You know?
Gotcha. So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Stretch. I always try to make sure that like I'm all dressed and my ring outfit's all good, and I'm not missing anything. I go through my match at least like, you know, however many times I need to, and just you know, be ready for it. Drink lots of water, hydrate. I like to do this little like back and forth, you know, like right when I'm right about to go out the curtain, I'm just like, all right, it's go time. that's what I can say to that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, just looking, I guess, for a kind of a quick rundown, what all do you carry in your gear bag? Do you have anything unique or unusual that you carry in your gear?
Unique or unusual? Let's see. I've always got a hairbrush with me because I feel like I need to be brushing my hair because it gets crazy sometimes. I've always got candy with me. Typically, it's either gummy bears or like Gushers or something like that.
Gotcha.
I try to always have BioFreeze on me in case anything happens.
Oh, yeah.
Always prepared. Those are probably like the most unusual items, I'd say. And BioFreeze isn't that unusual either.
Gotcha. So looking over at the Instagram chat again, the Ugly Dojo has joined, and Nikki Heat has joined.
Hi, Nikki.
So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So, and I've actually got two from my two most recent guests. One is a wrestler from up in New York City, Logan Black. Okay. And the question that he posed is, what is your favorite comic book character?
Ooh, favorite comic book character? You know, I wasn't too huge of a comic person growing up, but to answer that question in a proper way, I would probably have to say Spider-Man. Okay.
And the other question, my most recent guest is a guy named Nick, who is part of a wrestling card collecting and vending company called Babyface Breaks.
Okay.
And I mentioned that you were coming on as the next guest, and he's up in the New Jersey area, and he knows an indie wrestler up there who also goes by Public Enemy No.1. So he wants to know from you, who's the real Public Enemy No.1?
I'd say I am. I'm the real public enemy #1 because you don't want to mess with this. You really don't.
Absolutely. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question you would like to pose to the next guest?
Yes.
And I can tell you who the next guest is going to be, but the question doesn't have to be particular to him.
Okay. Who is the next guest?
The next guest, I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen here. Jimmy Darren, who is another WWA4 person.
Jimmy.
So,
right.
do you have a question you would like to pose to Mr. Jimmy?
I do. In fact, I love Jimmy. I've wrestled with him a couple of times in class. He's great. I would like to ask Jimmy. What was it that inspired you to get into gear making? That's what I'd like to ask him, because he in particular, he makes gear in his like off time, and
very cool.
People, and I would like to ask him that question.
Very, very cool. So, we're getting toward the end of things now. So, do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
So I do have one show that I'm doing in the next week or so. I'm working on the 10th at 12 gauge blowback. That's going to be in Calhoun, Georgia, at the spot. That's gonna. I think it's at like 4:30, something like that. I'd be wrestling Eden Monroe, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It should be very exciting. That's like what I have coming up right now. I'm always looking to get some more, and so hopefully in the next few weeks you will see me elsewhere as well. But outside of that, come to the WWA4 on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and you'll always find me there. You can't get me out of that place. So
Absolutely. One of these Thursdays, I need to get out there for one of those shows.
Absolutely, that would be great. It would be great to see you.
Well, as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, like I said, this coming Monday at 7 p.m., I've got episode 145 with Mr. Jimmy Darren. And then next Wednesday, the 13th, I've actually got a rescheduled episode 134 with Zamir Zuriel. He had come on before, but we ended up having technical difficulties and actually really weren't able to do the show. So we're going to give it another try next Wednesday and kind of hope for the best with that. But Vivian, this has been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for your time. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and clips on the web, thank you for that. If you like what we have going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. All of my socials are on my link tree on my Instagram. And until next Monday, when I've got Jimmy Darren, be good to each other, love each other.